Now, which African country is famous for its flying elephants?
Kenya.
Try again, try again. Try again. Did you hear the question? Which country is famous for its flying elephants? Hello everyone, my name is Omon Odike and you're watching Omon Scout. Please keep watching. Today we have a very inspiring guest joining us. She's the CEO of a top-tier interior design, architecture, and property development firm positioned as a catalyst tool for nation building and kingdom advancement. Alongside with her team, she creates and builds spaces that elevate the way people live and work. Not only is she a successful businesswoman, but she's also an accomplished author. She has written 6 powerful books and have reached thousands of people across the globe. Through her books, coaching programs and speaking engagements, she continues to inspire and empower others. I am pleased to introduce our guest today, the beautiful Funto Ibuoye, CEO of 528. Hi Funto, good to have you, good to have you. I'm so happy to have my ACE leader here. Have a seat.
Thank you so much.
Nice to have my fellow ACO here.
I'm so
good to have you on Omon Scout finally.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, you're welcome. You started your journey some years back and you set up an interior design firm, which is also a property development firm. Please tell us about your journey. How did you start it from the beginning to where you are today? Because your name is out there and people know about your company, so I'm sure a lot of people want to hear your story.
Okay, so I love sharing the story about how I started my business because I was 26. I was married with my first baby, so I was nursing. And before then, I was working with L'Oreal. And then after working for about 2 years with L'Oreal, they shut down operations in Nigeria. And then they actually wanted to move me to the Ghana branch, but I just got married and my husband was not going to go to Ghana.
Of course.
I decided that since he wasn't going to go, I'm definitely going to stay here. So here I was, from having a job and being paid 6 figures to being a housewife, nursing baby, washing clothes, washing plates, changing pampers. And you know, I was just in that season where it just felt like
I think everyone has that season.
You know, just felt like,
this
what am I doing here?
Yes, it happened to me too.
Literally, I'm just like, this is not my life, because before then, I mean, I'd always seen myself as that career girl, boardrooms, all of that, and then all of a sudden,
I'm now it looks like you're reduced
literally, and then I didn't understand that that was just a season. You know, I just thought that, okay, so this is what my life is about now.
Very interesting what you just said. You talked about a season. And that struck me to the core because people don't understand, or women don't understand that part is actually a season. I didn't even understand that was a season.
And like nobody
told us. I was always very sad, and maybe you could even call it depressed at some point, wondering if this was going to be my life. I went and I kept on questioning myself, why did I go to school? What did I do? Why am I here cleaning, changing?
My husband every time I was going out
and coming back.
And so me, I will not be at home taking care of your baby.
Or our baby, more like, and that's all your life's going to be. But I think it was what you just mentioned, that it's a season. And I think people who, not the youths that are starting off, that are women, or the people who have already started business but they're still raising kids, should understand that it's actually just a season. And I think that's very remarkable. And it will pass, and you will have all the time in the world to become who you want to become.
You know, so I was in that season where I'm just like, okay, this cannot be what my life was about. And then something happened one day. I remember, so my husband was going out, and then he had already entered into the car, and I went to meet him, and I'm like, oh babe, I need 1,000 naira to make my hair. So I not made my hair.
Oh my God.
You know, it may be like 2 months because of course motherhood and all of that. You know, so I go and meet him, and I'm like, babe, I need just 1,000 naira. And the way he responded to me, I'm like, is it 1,000 or 1 million naira?
I asked for.
Literally. So when he gave me that response, I was shocked, right? And so I remember just leaving him and, you know, watching him go out. And I carried myself, went back inside the house. I went into the kitchen. I started washing all the plates that were not dirty, you know, because I just needed
to burn out
the anger. You know?
Wow.
And I'm just like, and this is me, because before we got married, I was earning 5 times more than my husband.
Wow.
So now, this is now me who is now having to ask my husband for 1,000 naira, you know. But that made me actually just go back, you know, to God in prayer. And I remember as I was in that kitchen, I was just really praying to God, like, God, you have to give me my own. You know, like, I can't be asking my husband for 1,000 naira and, you know, he's giving me this response. So that was my own, you know, that was my mindset then. And I'm like, God, you have to give me my own. And then interestingly, about a few days later, a sister of mine who is like a friend, you know, sends me a flyer about this interior design training. You know, and it was going to be 120,000 naira or so then. Me that I didn't have 1,000
naira, so I'm just wondering, how did you do that?
So I remember just, you know, I just really praying to God and saying, God, if I tell my husband about this and he gives me the money, then I know that it's really you. You know, so I remember one particular night I prepared his best meal, you know, set the table before him, everything. When he finished eating, I showed him the flyer on my phone. I'm like, oh babe, I really want to go for this training. You know, I guess I says, okay, no problem. Call them and ask them if, you know, we can pay in installments. So I did. And, you know, yes, they said I could pay in installments. And that was how my journey to interior design started. So I went for the training.
So are you saying you never had the inclination, you didn't even love interior design?
I never
just
was
because
that
you
person.
Saw the
in fact,
flyer accidentally, you just chose that
backstory. Before I joined L'Oreal, I was the PA to the CEO of an interior design firm, where I did just 3 months, right? And it was, I remember the day that I went for the interview for that role, I stepped into the showroom and I literally went, wow. I had never seen furniture looking so beautiful, so colorful. I never knew that there was anything called interior design. So that was my first experience with interior design, you know, and then I went on to L'Oreal. I did 2 years in L'Oreal, and then, you know, back to this story. So that's how I started my training. And interestingly, that season we're living in Ikeja, and the training was all the way in Lekki, and the trainings were in the evening. So I'll go and pick my baby then from Kerch at 6 p.m. The training was 7 to 9 p.m. So and then we'll drive all the way to Lekki with the baby in the car seat crying. You know, and
you didn't have a help. No
help at that time. You remember, this was my first child, so we're just literally starting life. You know, no help at that time. We'll drive all the way to Lekki. Baby is crying in the back seat sometimes, and then you know how it is. Most times the training doesn't end by 9.
Exactly.
It ends like maybe past 9, 10, and then I literally would do Third Mainland Bridge in like 5 minutes, speeding just to get home. You know, and I did that for 6 months with my baby. So I just felt like sharing that to say that, you know,
it's
some
tough.
women, exactly, in the beginning, it's not going to be
all rosy.
Exactly, and you have to give what you need to give for your dreams. Do you see that?
To happen.
Yes, exactly. So I did that for 6 months, and then after 6 months, I did an internship with the training academy. You know, and one day while I was interning, I was just on a site. You know, one of the sites that they sent me to supervise was all the way in Songotedo. And then I was on this site, and I remember just taking a picture of myself on site and just posting it on Instagram saying, oh, I'm now an interior designer. If you need my services, you know, holler at me, that kind of thing. And that very evening, I got my first 2 clients. One was a residential project, the other was a commercial project.
Serious?
And they were both in 6 figures.
Wow.
And that's how I started business.
That's amazing.
Literally. So that's how I started in 2016. And of course, we've grown.
And when you posted that advert, did you think, or the ad, did you think anybody was going to answer you? Were you so sure? I don't even know
what I was thinking, honestly. I just wanted to announce to everybody
that this is what you're doing, and immediately.
Exactly. Wow. Yes.
That was definitely led.
Yes, and that's really how I started. That's how, you know, I did those 2 projects first, and then from
got
there.
referrals.
Exactly, and now we've grown, you know, so now we've actually gone from just an interior design firm. We started with interior design, but now we've gone into a full-blown property development.
Yes.
So we do, you know, new builds, renovations.
So from the design to building
exactly.
and selling.
Yes.
Wow. Well done, well done, well done. Well done. I think your story is very inspiring and it's very true. I mean, most women actually start this way, and but the only thing I think, one of the beautiful things about your story is that people can resonate with it and know that even if you're there, you're just starting, you don't have help.
Yes.
You had to, but you sacrificed.
Exactly.
You made a lot of sacrifice for your journey to actually start. So you don't have to have everything in front of you, or all the best or the comfort before you can actually start.
Exactly.
So I think that's
and
such
all
a beautiful.
those things will come along.
Yes.
So now I have maids, drivers, like,
yes.
Do you understand? So all those things.
So just put in the hard work and things will follow.
Yes.
Reading your profile, I noticed that you positioned your business as a ministry for development and impacting lives. So what was the reason for doing this? Because this is a bit different, and I noticed that it's not just you saying it, you actually living your what you stand for, the ministry and everything concerning faith, spirituality, the business. So why did you start it that way?
Okay, so you remember how I said, I started my business because I was just really praying God give me my own. And I feel like God actually, took me on that, and after
challenge.
Exactly, I took me on that challenge, and after 1 or 2 years of trying to, do business, to make money, to have my own money and have my own thing, God started to take me on a journey of, Funto, you're going to do this business how I want you to do it. I remember something had happened. I can't remember exactly the detail of what happened, but I remember, having a conversation one night with God, and God saying to me, this business is not your source, I am. Right? I think that I had gotten to that place where I was depending solely on my business for everything. If I needed funds, if I needed to, everything was like my business. So I was always, I need to get clients.
Did you deviate from God
I didn't exactly deviate,
but you didn't put him at the center.
It wasn't at the
everything.
center. It was like, my business. I know God is a jealous God. If anything is taking his place, he's going to tell you that.
He did that to me.
I love it. I love it. So I got to that place where God actually told me, Funto, this business is not your source, I am. And that stuck, it struck a chord in my heart. I'm like, okay, it was now me going back to God and saying, okay, God, how do you want me to build this business? How do you want me to run this business? And literally, God started to give me blueprints. He started to give me crazy instructions that did not even make sense. So
people may not even
believe. First off, you tell me, give me instructions like, sending all the entire funds in the business account for something that is ministry related. I'm like, this is not even profit. I'm not even joking. This is not even profit. This is money that people have paid for me to do their projects, and then God is telling me to use a certain, amount to do, ministry or do something, and every time he gives me that instruction, I always see him come true. So for instance, I remember a particular one.
Give us an example, because I'm still trying to understand.
So this was even in, I think during COVID season. So someone had sent me a message, an email actually saying, she was in this situation with her family, they couldn't pay their rent. They didn't have money to even get a place. They were squatting with a friend, and the friend had already given them quick notice to, move out and all of that. And that she was just asking, if I could help. Me, I saw the email. This was COVID. I saw the email. I'm like, God will sort all of us. Literally, I'm like, God will sort all of us. So, but I remember the very next morning I was praying, and the Holy Spirit says, go back to that email. He said, go back to that email and read it. So I go back to the email and I read it. Okay, what am I supposed to do? He says, sort her rent, get her a place and furnish it. Meanwhile, at that time, this is COVID.
Wow.
We were about to pay rent, so we had funds to pay our own office rents, for the company. He says that money, I should use it to do, literally.
Are you serious?
It was a tough decision it was a tough instruction to, obey, literally, but eventually I did it. And guess what? I wouldn't even say, how there are testimonies where you
actually paid the money.
Exactly, I did.
For real?
Literally. I was involved in searching for the place for them, making sure that it was, good enough for her and her family, because it's a young family. They were a young family then. She was pregnant with her second child, So I did that, and we did not have money to pay our own rent. The testimony would have been sweet. If I had said that, after I did that, we got one big project.
Yes, or you got 1 billion.
Do you understand that we were able to get more funds? Nothing like that happened. I literally had to, you know, go and meet the landlady of our office to say, oh, please, can you give me more time? Because we don't have the money yet.
I cannot understand this.
I know, you know, so God took me on. He gave me those kind of crazy instructions just to, you know, just to show me that this business is not my source. Do you see that? Just to let me fully and completely depend on Him. You know, so when you say that, oh, I've positioned my business as a ministry, it's not because that's the in thing and that's what everybody, it's because God has taken me through a journey, because it's one of the things that God has tested me with is, you know, complete trust in Him, not looking at my business like my source of livelihood or I'm trying to make ends meet. No, there's a purpose deeper than that. Wow. Do you see that? There's a purpose, and the purpose really is people. So even in how I have structured the business around, you know, everybody, if you come to my office and ask everybody, you know, my staff, and ask them who the CEO is, they'll tell you it's God. Literally, without me even being there, you know. So it's something that it's giving, and it's not just because I said it's the in thing to do. It's because I've been through that journey.
God has taken you from the first step to where you are today. I've been through that
journey, and like I said, it's beyond just doing interior design and, you know, architecture and property development. You know,
so you use your story to reach
even
out
beyond
to others?
That. We've done. You know, I mean, so many testimonies coming to mind. So we've done spaces for people who, for instance, we did a home for a couple who were expecting. You know, they have been married for a couple of several years and they were expecting. And then I remember when we were consulting, the wife did not want us to do a nursery. So I'm like, since you guys have this extra room, let's turn it up into a nursery. I'm just like, okay, no problem. We turned that space.
She was pregnant, but she didn't want
pregnant.
Oh, she wasn't pregnant.
They were waiting. They were trusting.
Okay, they were still trusting God to have a child.
And then we married for like 7-8 years. Oh. Anyway, we did the nursery, and guess what? That very year, she took it.
Wow.
Literally, we had, I mean, so many other testimonies. There's one that, you know, we did this.
But I'm going to take you back.
Okay.
How did you eventually, because I'm sure a lot of viewers who are listening to you, you gave out your own seed money for rent to somebody else based on God's direction. How did you eventually pay for the rent?
Eventually, we got projects, but it didn't come like immediately. Eventually,
so the landlady gave you time. Okay,
definitely.
Okay.
She gave us more time, and we're able to sort that. Eventually, you know, in fact, so many testimonies. Another one just came to my mind. There was a particular, then I used to run a conference called Becoming for young ladies, and so there was a particular year we used Muson Center, and it was 2 weeks to the conference, and we had not paid for the hall fully. So my husband and I had saved money for our rent, our personal house rent, and God says I should take that money and use it to pay for the you know, conference. I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to ask my husband. If my husband says yes, which I know that he would never say yes, then I will know that it's she. Guess my husband said yes. Anyway, we paid.
Wow.
We paid for the conference, and guess the conference was on a Saturday. By Monday, someone who, I mean, had absolutely no idea, you know, about my rent or the situation I was in. She's like a mentor to my husband and I. She calls me. She didn't even call me. She sends me a text message and says, Funto, how much is your rent and when is it due?
God has spoken to some helpers on your behalf.
Conversation with her about it.
Wow.
Nothing. And that's how our rent got. So I mean, I can go on and
I think this
share.
is more like, I'm sounding as if I'm in a church right now. Like, this is a church of testimonies.
Because this is what God wants to do.
But I love it. You're authentic. This is your story. And you cannot change it for anybody. This is how you built your business. The foundation is God.
Yes.
But not just the foundation, but every step you take is
all about God. God is doing this, not even just with my business, where I see so many businesses, you know, like that God is also using this, because there's so many people God wants to reach who won't go to the church. But they will come to your business. They will come to buy from you. They will come to use your services. And God wants to reach those people through your business. Do you see that? So it's like our business is like a platform where God is, you know how there's a way I usually put it. It says your business is like a pulpit where God is going to pull people out of pits. Do you see that? So that's it. So it's not so, ministry now has gone beyond just be the four walls of a church. Yes, it's now in the marketplace. So God is raising an army in the marketplace. So whether a marketplace is whether your career in business, as long as you live that surrendered life to Him, He's going to use whatever it is that you're doing. You see.
Okay, I love your story. I mean, it's very inspiring on so many dimensions. And we've had different guests, ladies who have given their own stories. And a lot of people start with the foundation of God, but yours is definitely something else too, because you are led by God like every single step, and you've taken a lot of challenges, a lot of direction that no normal human being would actually take, knowing that you're depriving yourself of something to please the word of God, and which is amazing, and I must applaud you for that. And I'm happy that you have to also have a supportive spouse who believes in the same vision.
I think
as
that's
yourself.
really very
important. And that
important.
is really, really critical. And your story cannot be like somebody else's story, and people should understand that if you different path, different journey, different paths to success, or different paths to sing, having a better relationship with God. Because yours, you're doing a twofold thing. In fact, threefold, if you ask me. You're touching lives, you're having a deeper relationship with God, and you're growing a business all at the same time. Well done, well done.
Thank you.
But you see, this is a beautiful part of the story. I want to hear more about, have you had real challenges that even you have questioned God, that am I going to continue on this journey?
Literally.
Like, am I going to continue on this journey, or I can't do it anymore? I can't do it anymore.
A fresh story of like God who sent me message.
Okay.
Fresh story. So this was literally about last year, so God had given me an instruction to move the office from Okwebi. We used to be at Okwebi to Ikoyi.
Another big one. Okay.
So, most of my staff, live on the mainland. So I'm like, okay, so I had to have a meeting with them.
To move it from where to where?
From Okwebi to Ikoyi.
Oh,
that's Ikeja to
yes,
Ikoyi.
I know.
So I had to have a meeting with my staff. Some of them, about 12 of them couldn't, they didn't want to move because everything
proximity,
around them is on
yeah.
Exactly. So we did that, and then we found this space right on Awolowo Road. Beautiful space. It's on the 7th floor, and it's so beautiful. Anyway, so we paid for the space, and it just felt like as soon as we made that payment, it felt like everything shut. Like all our money flows just stopped, and we had projects running that we needed to complete, and it got so bad that I couldn't pay salaries for about 3 months.
Wow.
And while
this happened recently?
While I couldn't pay salaries, I had to show up as a leader and a boss to tell my, colleagues, you guys are not doing this on a project. Why has this not been done? Well, and they are looking at you and like, hey, madam, you've not paid me my salary. Do you understand? And I remember that season was so tough.
Is this recently or some years back?
Recently, last year, 2022.
Just last year, yeah.
Yes.
And this is you that has made a lot of money. I mean, at least sizable amount of money.
Yeah.
But because you took that leap of faith,
exactly,
you now became stranded.
A leap of faith, literally. And at some point, I was like, God, I know that I heard you. I know you gave me this instruction. So why is all of this happening? And then I was pregnant. I know pregnancy hormones. One day you're happy, one day you're all over the place, again. And then having to deal with that. I remember one morning I literally woke up, and what I felt was not even, I wasn't sad or depressed, I was ashamed. What I felt was shame. Just having to, I knew there were things that needed to be done, and having to go and face my team and tell them again that you guys, you've not done this, meanwhile I'm owing you salaries, And I felt an overwhelming sense of shame, and I remember just crying to God and saying, God, like, this is hard. Like, I don't know what this is, but this is hard. And God said something to me. He said, Funto, if I can handle the glory, then I can handle the shame. And that just gave me some comfort. Because yes, God, you are the CEO of this company. You are the one handling the glory. So this is your shame, handle it, This is your shame, handle it. And it just gave me some comfort and confidence to just go back, to face my team and tell them, what they needed to do and all of that.
But you had a good team to have stayed, even
absolutely.
after three months of
only
no salary?
Out of about 12 people,
lost.
In Lagos, only one person left. No, actually 2. I'm sorry, only 2 people left, so the other 10. And I understood why, number. Of course, I understood why they had to leave, But 10 stayed, and, so I know that it's not just about the money that they are getting. It's not just about the salary.
I think they are tied to the vision.
Exactly.
And also the spirituality part. Because I don't believe anybody that is a Christian would actually work with you in the first, because they'll get irritated.
Literally.
That's the truth.
Literally. So that season was really, really tough. you know, but something I've learned, you know, something that God used that season to teach me was that failure is a part of success.
Yes.
You know how somehow we grew up thinking that failure was the opposite of success. No, if you're going to succeed, you're going to have to fail, because it's in those seasons of failure, in those seasons when you're down, that you build capacity. God uses it to strengthen
you start innovating
you.
Too.
Exactly, and then you can go back inside and like, okay, how can I make this thing work? You know, just how you know, they say that when tough times come, tough people get going.
Exactly.
Do you see that? So God uses seasons like that to
toughen you up. Yes. So everybody who has led any company would know.
Literally,
the tough times come and sometimes they pause.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
After
I wonder
a while,
when is this storm going to pass?
It becomes good.
And so, you know, and it was so good that season also made us go back to our drawing board. It was that season that we started rebranding, you know, looking at our processes, and, you know, just going back to the drawing board and re-strategizing, you know, and we came out of that season actually stronger as a company, not even just as an individual. You know, we came out of that season really stronger. You know, we rebranded, we changed our processes, and it was so
well done. So it's not just all the glory and the roses. There's real pain in entrepreneurship, in growing business anywhere in the world. It's not just
in Nigeria.
I mean, it's peculiar here because it's worse, but it's anywhere in the world.
You
just
say that
have to put in so much.
And if you can run a successful business in Nigeria, you
can
will be
run
successful
anywhere.
It's
true. It's true. We have too many things affecting us. You've authored 6 books. And one of your recent books, the title is Small Girl, Big God. Can you tell us what that book is all about? In as much as possible, what was the direction? What do you want us to know? What do you want us to learn from it? Because it's obvious that you're teaching a lesson concerning the book.
I love it. Yes, so the core message of the book really is to make women understand that they really can have it all. I believe that we've been told a lie so many times that as a woman, you can't have it all. That if you're doing so well in your marriage, then maybe your career is suffering, or, you know, you're not doing so well in parenting, you know. But that's a big lie. I don't believe that, you know, God sent Jesus to come and, you know, do all that he did and then die on the cross for us to live a mediocre life as women, a limited life. No, we can really have it all. You can have a beautiful marriage, raise good kids and have a beautiful career, thriving business. Literally. Do you see that? I literally believe that. But, you know, I feel like there's so many women who are limited, like you say, who they've already bought into that lie, and then they're living small lives. Yes. You know, you just want to go to school, a lot of women, you know, get married, have children, and then what else? You know, no, that can't be what life is all about. There has to be more to your life than that. Do you see? So that's really the message of the book. It's really a clarion call to women to arise, especially in this season that we're in. I really believe that we're in a season where it's the time of the woman. It's for women. Literally. Everything is about the woman. The conference is about the woman. Exactly. Do you see? The promotion is all about the woman. There's a deeper reason to that, if I can share. Okay. You know, really, I know we've been hearing it said a lot that, oh, Jesus is coming soon. But really, Jesus is really coming soon. And you know, when the groom is coming, who prepares the bride? Women. So it is women who are going to prepare the level of spirituality of the coming of Christ. So that's why you're going to see a lot of women rising in politics, in governance, in business. And we're already seeing that women, you know, winning gold medals in sports, in the Olympics, in every sphere of influence. Do you see? Because it's the time of the woman. So this is not a time where women should just be laid back and, you know, just live a low mediocre life. You see? So so that's really the core message of the book, that as a woman, you can have it all if you really believe in it. You see? Yes, because something you don't believe in, you can't even make it happen. That's it. And I'm so sorry to that's fine. Another thing is, some people say, oh, you can have it all but not at the same time. That's also a lie. Why can't I have it all? I was going to actually say that. Do you see? No, I was going to add that you can actually have it all, but maybe not all at the same time. So that means you are actually going to punch it. So it can just be to different degrees of, you know, growth. So my marriage can be working, I can be raising good children, I can be building my business, and then another level, I am you know, super successful, and you know, and just really understanding seasons. There'll be seasons where my marriage, it's not that my marriage is not working, but my marriage might have to take the back burner so that I can focus on the kids. You know, there'll be seasons where my business will have to, you know, take the back burner, but I've built structure in place to run the business without me being there, so I can focus on my children or focus on my marriage. Do you see that? There would always be, so it's first of all understanding seasons and understanding that while I have it all, it keeps growing, it keeps getting better. Yeah. Amazing, amazing story. Wow, I'm sure you viewers have heard you can actually have it all, especially the women, and I also believe in that, because I am a living testimony of that goodness. And but please note that I'm not going to tell you that it's rosy. There's a lot of sacrifices. Yes, there's a lot of resilience you have to have. You have to be tough. You will also cry. You will cry. Trust me, you would cry. If you're not crying, then you're not even getting anywhere. You will definitely cry as a woman when those challenges come. But there's always a season. Even when there are bad things happening, the season of joy would also happen. The season of prosperity will happen. And all the other seasons. And that makes us human at the end of the day. And I think people should, women, other entrepreneurs should understand that when the tough comes, just walk through them. Of course, those who are Christians can surrender them to their issues to God and let Him take control. And at the end of the day, every season will pass. Every season will definitely pass. So just understanding that life is in seasons. I've really enjoyed your talk, your testimonies, because there are a lot of testimonies that you have shared today. And I know for those women who are really spiritual and have not even started their business, can actually use God as a center and see Him walk the work that they want Him to work. That's it. And then another thing I need to ask you too is, you're working in this industry where you have you're developing properties, you're working with a lot of artisans, a lot of all the blue-collared workers. How are you coping? Because at this stage now, I don't know how you're using the spirituality to fix this. I don't know how, because it's our human beings who are doing all these things. So how are you keeping sane working with them? That's the question. How am I keeping sane, and how are you keeping them? Okay, even your workers. I love that question so much, because I feel like God has used artisans to help me also build my character. So I'm going to give an example, right? So I remember about 2 years into my business, I had this particular artisan who was a painter, and the man was an ardent liar. So you tell you that... Was he good with his skill? It was good. Yes. It was good. It will always be good. He would always not say the truth. So he would tell you that he's going to be there at 10 o'clock. Just know that maybe it's 4 p.m. So I remember this particular project where to hand over to the client on a particular day. So I needed them to come to touch up some parts before I handed over to the client. And I told the client, you know, that I'll be there by 2 p.m. And I told the painter to be there by 10 a.m. I was leaving my house. I called him. Are you on your way? He said, oh yes, I'm on my way. I'm almost there. I got to site, you know, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 noon. I call you. Where are you? Are you almost here? I've been waiting for you. So I'm on my way. I'm on my way. By 2 o'clock, this man calls me and tells me, oh, madam, I'm so sorry. He said it in Yoruba. I'm so sorry, but I'm in Shagamu. Wow. I am on site in Lekki. The client is almost on our way to site. You're telling me that why didn't you tell me that from the beginning?
So you alternative arrangements. And
immediately he said that. So I was sitting, because at that time, maybe I didn't have a driver, my driver didn't come, but it was my husband who drove me to site. So we were both sitting in the car waiting for him. Immediately he told me he was in Shagamu. I said in Yoruba, Konida for what that means is it will not be good for you. I don't know how that came out of me, but my husband looked at me like he could not believe that I could they drive you nuts. I couldn't believe that I could say that, you know. You're real, you're human. Actually, I'm just like, you know, I was so upset, you know. Anyway, long and short, my husband did not talk to me because I said that. He was so upset. He told me to even apologize. I had to apologize to the painter, you know, when it came finally. It came finally around 4 p.m. I said for him, I first apologized to him for saying that, and then we, you know. So what that scenario taught me was, you know, there are things in me that God also wanted to deal with. You know, one major thing is learning to be patient. Do you see? and patience is a virtue, you know, most of us Nigerians, we really need to have, especially
I don't know how that will work for me. I can be patient for some things, but not everything. When I know the client is like that scenario, the client is coming, so it means I'm going to be slaughtered immediately.
But,
I don't know how.
We've grown from now having to work with all those kind of artisans to now
professional companies.
Exactly. So that has really helped a lot with.
So you don't do one-on-one anymore.
That's it. So yes, but I mean, while we're on that level, it kind of literally helped me to say, okay, because I'm going back to okay, phone, so I can't hurt a fly. Why am I saying that? Where did that come from? You know, so that also helped me to, you know, build character. Yes, and then we've grown to having, you know, better artisans. So I
think from listening to your story, you've actually talked about from the ground zero, how you built to a certain level where you're doing things yourself. Now the final thing you're mentioning now is now you've grown beyond all that. Now you now outsource the entire development to development companies to actually do exactly what you're looking for. Yep. So I'm sure viewers should see that you don't build Rome in one day. It takes time. You must do the hard work. You must, dedicate your business to God. I keep telling people that's the easiest part of the whole thing, and things will flow fall into place.
And so I'll say to anyone who is looking to start, in fact, any business at all, first off, be ready to put in the work. Be ready to roll up your sleeves and you know, put in the work, and don't expect to blow overnight. There's nothing like an overnight success. That overnight takes at least 5-10 years of putting in the work, of growing, of innovating, of reinventing yourself, you know. So be in it for the long term. Don't look for easy fix or quick, or try to look for, you know, how to do
it very quick money.
Quick money, you know.
As quick money will go quickly too.
Will go quickly, literally. So be ready to be in it for the long haul. Business is not a joke. I always say it's not Instagram posting and not posting. No, if you're going to do real business, you have to put in real work, you know, and be ready to go in the long haul. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the viewers have heard you. And thank you for coming here.
And
we're going to go to the next segment, which is our trivia questions. We're going to be asking you questions about anything, and we're hoping to hear your result. It's trivia time. So let's hear you. I'm going to ask a question. Please stop laughing because the question is not so hard. Now, which African country is famous for its flying elephants?
Kenya.
Try again. Did you hear the question? Which country is famous for its flying elephants?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Cameroon. What's the answer?
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Is that your last answer?
Flying elephants.
Flying elephants?
Can I call a friend?
No, you can't call a friend.
I don't know.
Okay, let me answer.
Okay.
There's no country because there are no flying elephants.
That's true.
There are no flying elephants. You see?
Nice.
So you can see.
Nice.
So sometimes the answer is just in the question. Well done.
So good.
Thank you for coming.
You.
I had a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this episode of Omon's Couch. If you would like to see more inspiring content like this, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The handle is Omon Odike. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel.